Hello my dear chess friends, welcome to Kiwi Chess. Here I am streaming again. I just wanted to check that everything is okay. You can hear me now, right? Sorry. So I'm starting this solving tactics again. Sorry for again slightly long break within a week. I didn't really have time to stream unfortunately, but here I am now and we are continuing our journey. I would just need to a couple of moments here. Just a second. I just need to tune up my Twitch so I could see the chat. All right. Okay. Right, and I'm going to my channel and the video so I could see the channel itself. Wonderful. So here I am. Right, so let's just go and try to solve some stuff here. The well, our club chums finished. I played my last game. I drew. I had significant advantage there, but I couldn't really find the good sequence to continue, so a draw. And my overall loss of rating in the tournament is 18 points. Pretty sad, but well deserved. So currently there's one chess tournament going in Auckland Chess Club, which is called Merv Morrison. I might cover a little bit of that, but I'll see how it goes. I mean, currently I saw that the round one saw at least like two major upsets, and then the second round pretty much didn't bring any surprises there, and currently there are a couple of people that are on the top of the list. Well, actually not a couple, I'm lying. There's plenty of people on 2 points, and that's going to be quite an interesting game tomorrow, so I'm going to be watching. But today I'm going to solve puzzles as usual. So here we go. Let me see that everything is fine. I can draw the uh, things here. Yeah, and I can see that. Wonderful. Why I'm so upset about that? Because I'm just streaming from another computer. I need to see that everything is running fine, and it seems like everything is fine. So good. Right. So here we have got a position where we play black. So no, sorry, we play white. We play white. I'm apologizing. So we are playing white. Our pawn is going to queen, and it goes further. The black pawns are going down there. Okay, so currently black played king to f4, and it's our move. Ideally, what we would like is to queen the pawn, of course, right? But here comes just one move, and then black cannot, sorry, white cannot proceed with the pawn because it's going to be taken. Um, right. If even if we defend the pawn, he can give us a couple of checks then and that, and it still looks like um, black is losing here because even if he sacrifices a rook for my pawn, what is he going to do then? I mean, both of my pawns are on light squares. My bishop here defends them, so I would be still winning. But it looks like the exercise is to find even faster win, right? So let's just do that then. If he can go there and prevent me from queening, maybe there is a way to prevent him from going to h3, and this is the way, right? So he cannot really go there. Can he do anything else? Surely he can just drop down to g1, and then if we move the pawn, he still goes to h1, and then we're still in trouble, right? But are we or are we not? That's a really important question here. Mm, why? Because if he goes there and if we still go with our king to support the pawn to queen, well, the best thing he has got is just to give me a check on g1, and then I can go over. He still goes for the pawn, and it looks like, well, we need to repeat the position because if I lose that pawn, I'm definitely not in a good position here. He could sacrifice his exchange back, and I just get the winning pawn in game. So that's probably winning for black. What can we do here? That's a good question. Let me see. I'm just gonna go to analytics. Here we go. Right. Ideally, what I want is to cover myself somehow here, so the pawn goes, and I'm still be able to defeat my pawn here. All right. So for that, I think the best reply would be to go to f7 instead. Why? Because, well, what can he do with the pawn, right? So if he goes there, I'm still gonna move the pawn forward, and if he goes and attacks me here, I'm not quite sure. I can move to g6. I'm defending the pawn, and I'm defending that pawn, so he can't capture my pawn with the rook anymore. Then my king goes to g7, and the pawn goes, right? And I'm still defending my pawn here, so I believe that's gonna be the solution here. If I go there and he attacks my pawn immediately, then I'm gonna go at defend it with my king, right? And if he gives me check, I'm covering with the bishop. And if he comes there, I'm pushing the pawn forward. And it looks like, well, tough, but black still loses. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's see if we've got that thing with a straightforward push with the pawn. And no, as I say, we black is gonna go to h3 and g3 with checks, and then repeat that, and we can't really cover our king from this check of the rook checks. So clearly, we need to do something better than that. What if we just go there? It's an interesting stuff because we can go that way. But if he goes there, he guards the pawn, and his king can approach my pawn, and I can't really guard that with the bishop. So it looks like the ideal position for the bishop is still on g6. It guards the pawn, it covers my king from checks, and it also defends the pawn if we go g7. Yeah, I think that's the idea. No, it's not. Bollocks. Moving the pawn forward? No, that's not the idea. Going there? Yes, so that is the idea. I'm going further, he takes, I'm queening, and I'm winning. Now, what the heck? Yeah, of course. Oh no, still, hang on, no. Hang on a second. So I'm moving the pawn forward. He steps there. e6. No, well, that doesn't make sense now, does it? So we just go closer with our king, and then check. We go away. He comes here. So I haven't got anything but to defend my pawn again. Strangely, but that doesn't seem like the correct answer here, does it? And I can't defend my pawn anyhow. So if I go there, it gives me check. Maybe I could go that way, sure, but then he goes there. I can't get out with my king, so I wouldn't put my king into that position, miserable position on h8, of course. But what else? Why? Why here? Sorry, this move here. If he drops, what's gonna go? Go there. And if this coming here, we are going that way. Gives a check. Maybe that's not that bad actually. don't get it. If I go, if maybe I shouldn't go that way, but the pawn needs to be protected, right? I'm just looking at this move, but then he still checks me, right? I can't go to h8, so that's not, that's very interesting, but that's not really correct. Just a moment, guys. So if bishop e6, right? I can't go to h3 and I need to stop the pawn, so naturally I'm gonna drop there. But if he drops that way, I'm gonna go further, right? Then I'm gonna go that way, and the pawn is gonna go. Then if he goes that way, I'm gonna go there, and he can't take me, right? So he would need to go where, whatever. Well, the bishop goes to that diagonal anyways, but what is wrong with me going f7? Alright, what if I go there? Am I missing something? So he goes that way, I'm going this way. I don't know, I can't really see any ideas. Let's just see, let's just check with the computer. I'm sure there's something really simple that I'm missing, but let's just see. e6 is winning. What if bishop f7? Oh, he takes the pawn. For goodness sake, of course. I didn't see that he could simply take the pawn, my god. And then without that pawn it is a draw, of course, because he just goes with the king. Wow. But this way if he goes and takes, then he's got no time, because h3 was protected. So in fact I saw the correct move right away, but I neglected that because of so-called better plan that I found. And that was the wrong plan. My god. But if he drops, I'm just gonna go there, I think. Let's just see what the computer says. So going to f7 now because he can't take me, right? Or even here because he protects h1. But I believe, yeah, well, let's just go there. So if he goes somewhere like here, the pawn goes, he gives a check, for example. I'm just gonna go there, and I can cover here as well, and the pawn queens then. Okay, makes sense. So that I didn't see. Well, how come that I didn't see a simple taking? I'm so mad at myself because this is simple. He just takes the pawn. How couldn't I see that? That's really weird. But nevertheless, it's a really good training because I saw the correct move. My goodness, and I didn't really. I neglected that. I rejected that because of that move, right? But then the pawn is not gonna be taken, and then we go there. Such a subtlety here. Interesting. Okay, next. Alright, so the processor takes 2.5%, which is okay. And we go there. Okay. So here it looks like we have to take, right? We have to take. If we maybe the subtlety is that we don't. Maybe we're just going away, because if we take here, there's this check coming, and then if we go back, there's this check coming. We go away, and then he takes, and it looks like we are going to white is going to queen, and we're gonna lose that. I think we might even try some kind of perpetuals here, but his king goes away. All right, and we can't do anything. We can do that check here. It goes away, and then we need to check. So it looks like, well, he's taking the king, he's taking the queen, wins basically, right? That's the main question. And if I give him check here, he goes somewhere like here, check here, goes there, and I don't see how I can win that, right? So maybe, okay, what if I take? If he goes check here, what if I just go there? Then he gives me check. I'm covering that he checkmates me. Wow, interesting. So that is the trap looks like. So I'm taking, if he gives me check, I'm gonna go back, of course. Now if he gives me another check here first, I need to go away. Then he takes me here and he's about to queen. Is there any chance I could win that? I don't know. Because new queen appears on the board and it seems like I'm not gonna survive that. Interesting. Which makes me think maybe I'm just gonna go there. I don't want to take the queen. And if he takes here, what chances do I have? I've got to win that. I don't understand. The only thing I could possibly think is just to give him check here, but then he goes away. Right? I can't give him any other checks anymore. Or even if he goes to h4, I don't even have any follow-up, do I? This check, he takes, I take here check. He takes, I'll go somewhere like here, whatever. It doesn't seem like I will have any winning chances. So maybe the idea is to take here and then seek some reckoning. So let's check here. I'm going away. Check here. Maybe I'm just gonna go there and cover. That's an interesting idea because he doesn't take me here with approaching to my to the queening. So he has to take here. I'm going away, and then he moves the pawn. But I believe I would be able to. Let's take fire brigade. Right. So I'm gonna give check here for sure. So he goes away. And do I? Well, is it perpetual then? What? I don't understand that. Looks very strange. I reckon it has something to do with sacrificing the bishop. Maybe I should sacrifice bishop here, in fact, because if he takes me with the rook, the pawn is not queening. And maybe I've got some chances here. Because I'm gonna take him here too. That's the thing. That's the thing, I believe, guys. Hang on. So if I take, say he can give me check right away, but then I'm gonna go that way. And if he gives me check here, oh, that's actually nasty. I'm taking him. I've forgotten about that idea, in fact. So I think I have to take him. And if he gives this check, I'm just taking you here. And if he goes with the pawn, or he goes this check here first, I'm gonna come closer to the pawn, right? So that's not the idea. So I'm taking. Now this check is coming, and that's what I have foreseen that one, but I'm taking here, right? Then he takes here and he's about to queen, but I'm just coming closer to the pawn, right? So he can't do much about that. If he protects, then well, okay, I'm having queen against the rook. I reckon I'm gonna win, right? So just taking. What's wrong? Going back, well, he takes here, of course. So if I take, then he goes check. Then we go there. Then he takes. So whatever he does, it's not gonna make any difference, is it? Taking. And that's it. Wow. That's it. So, what the heck? I'm still kind of in mild shock from that kind of exercise, in fact, right? So that's a really interesting knot. Now, Let's go. Another mid game position. So let's just once there is a lot of pieces, I want to count the material. So we've got 6 pawns here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns here. We're 1 pawn short. Actually, it looks like some kind of either Spanish game or even the neither. It is c5, c3. Well, actually, it is not even either of that. It is some Latin. Okay. Anyways, Sicilian though. Now here we've got this nice diagonal here, which opens once we take on d5. But I believe if we do it right away, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Maybe we could take here first, because the idea is once I take the h7 square is still protected, right? And face it, once we take on d5, we're just returning back one piece, so it's not gonna be that spectacular. So I reckon the idea would be to eliminate the guardian of h7, because then if we take, there will be no other way but just to play h6. Then we open the whole thing up here, or maybe even more, moving to f5. And if he takes with a knight, we can even sacrifice the exchange. So the attack would be quite strong. Always look for the attack first. Now we have got another forcing variation when we can take here, in fact, and in this way the e7 bishop would be not protected really, so that adds to the complexity, but I kinda like that too. The problem here, if I take, he can interimly take there. Is that gonna be okay or not? I'm gonna take him here, or I'm gonna even take here, then he takes him, they're gonna take here with check. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna like that, in fact. So taking here um, requires taking with the queen. Otherwise, if he starts to get smart here, I'm just gonna and takes on e4. I'm taking here, but I'm already kind of a rook up, and then I'm gonna take here with check as well. And if he takes me here, I'm simply retaking. So that's gonna be better for me, of course. So let's just change the rooks first. But before that, it's the same idea, right? So before that, I'm either taking here, and if he takes, I'm gonna take here with the queen now, and then this h7 square is already under attack, and I don't really care if he takes me here or not. So I don't think we even should take there, but maybe we should. I don't know. I don't know again. So that seems interesting. Taking on c8 is also interesting, but what is more interesting, I don't know. It looks like, well, there can't be two same things, right? So I kind of like taking here, because this way the queen is gonna get distracted here, and white is important. Then I can simply take on f6, and if he doesn't take, and if he takes somewhere in the interim here, I'm gonna take with the knight, and then declare check and so on. So it's gonna be disastrous. I think we should take the rook. I would start with that. I don't know. Or we can take here, but then he might take here, of course, first. And if I take here, he takes here, check. I'm taking, and then he takes here. So what is it going to be? I'm exchange down then, right? Or what? I'm taking 1, 2. He takes 1, but then he takes the rook, and I'm exchanged down, right? And oh, well, I'm taking on d5 then, so he can take the interim here. Oh my goodness. And he's got this move as well. So tough, really tough. But if I take here, then there's not gonna be that move, because I'm simply taking, or maybe I wouldn't take him here anyways. So yeah, I reckon I'm gonna start with taking the rook, because if I start something like here, he will get some of the ideas. But on the other hand, if I take there, the diagonal is not going to be open because he can block that. And how I'm going to threaten him, I think it is also not really good. Maybe I should even simply take here, because my idea here would be to simply take on f6, and then when he retakes, I'm checkmating him. So maybe that's that simple. Maybe I should just take on d5. Or we can take here first, and once he takes, we're gonna take here. And then he can go there or something, or doesn't matter. Maybe just simply taking. See, once we take here, he takes here, we're losing the initiative, because once we retake, that's his move, right? So I'd like to take. That's good. And then I can take here, and that's fine now, because we're opening the diagonal, we're threatening to take here, and that's kind of really gruesome um, attack. Then we can open here and sacrifice still. So yeah, I think that's how it should go. Now he goes there, but I would definitely just take him, right? I would just take him. So I take, he takes, I take, and I'm staying with 3 pieces against 2. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So this change was essential. That actually brings me to another interesting point in chess where, look, you saw that you've got a brilliant idea here, but you forget about the things that your opponent can make an interim move instead. And that's not kind of really threatening interim move, but that move intercepts the initiative. And by that I would say, like, well, look, if I just take here, he takes the rook. You need to feel that kind of thing. So he takes the rook. Yeah, sure, I can start taking here, but then he takes here, and I'm taking, and basically, well, he can still defend, right? So it looks like we are kind of step back. That feels like that, right? So he goes, and we are forced to respond to his ideas. Well, once we change the rooks, he's got no more leverage of taking here and taking something else with check, kind of distracting us from our main idea. And when he takes, we're simply opening the diagonal, and then we're still threatening to take, which means we've got a strong initiative, right? And we didn't allow him to kind of dissolve that in by taking on c1 instead. Interesting. Next, Night and Games. Interestingly, I believe it was Mikhail Botvinnik who first said that Night and Games, they are more resembling pawn and games. And I've got an interesting discussion with another friend of mine, Alexei Ravinsky, who was kind of saying, well, that's not exactly the truth, because night and games, they are night and games, and surely it is. It was kind of metaphor that Abitvinik used for that. The main point of playing night and games is that knights are quite slow pieces. They can't really jump from one side of the board to another. That adds to the role of the pawns as well. And that's why Botvinnik, I think, kind of made this parallel of night and games being close to pawn and games. But obviously, nothing is the pawn and game but the pawn and game, if you judge that really strictly. So I don't want to get into this philosophical discourse about what is what, but yeah, we tend to use analogies when it is possible, of course, right? And that's why Botvinnik did that. Right. So here, um, if we make a parallel again to the pawn and games, we can say we're playing black, right? Our pawns are going forward. White's pawns are going there. So technically, he tries to create a passer here, which is gonna be stopped at the moment, but nevertheless, maybe it is a mistake. We don't know. And we will if we take on a5, we will have a distant passer on a file, and for the knights, it is really hard to stop the side pawns unless they are really in front of that, because the side pawns, even if they're supported by the king or even another piece, it's really hard for the knight to maneuver around. It cannot really go to outside of the board and start to attack them from somewhere like not from a file but somewhere earlier than it. So you know what I mean, right? So if our king especially is around, the knight cannot really dance around the pawn, can't even sacrifice sometimes itself because it couldn't really get closer. If we had a bishop, that wouldn't be a problem because bishop could always sacrifice itself for a pawn, provided that there is an open diagonal, right? So, but I'm babbling too much. You probably got the idea already. Okay. So now the white's horsey is stuck on h7, and it looks like there is no other way for that to get out but from h8, right? And then it goes there or there to stop our pawns. C5 is also taking from that horsey, and it looks like white is in trouble because if I take on a5, my pawn is ready to run. He needs to, well, his king can't really get that pawn for sure, so he would need to get with the knight. So the knight starts to go. I'm moving the pawn forward. Knight comes closer. Now he cannot really stop my pawn here, but if I go somewhere like even further, say he goes there, I'm going further and I'm queening. I mean, we win quite clearly. It definitely means that we missed something. It definitely means that we missing something. And here I once I taking on a5, maybe he could check here. I take and then his pawn starts to move, and it's gonna be hard for my knight to get to hold those pawns. But I don't really understand. No, I don't think it's gonna be too hard. I think the knight can stop step to d5, and then if any of the pawns moves, but it's gonna be hard. If this pawn moves, I can definitely take that with the king. So I don't understand. No, I'm taking. So he goes there right away. Ah, that's the idea. So if I take, he takes me here, right? But frankly saying, I still have got like the um, last step here where you can stop the pawn on a c8, right? That makes me feel like, yeah, I still have got like the second chance. So if I move forward, if I just ignore that I move the pawn forward, he goes there. I move my pawn forward, he goes there. Then I'm stopping that. Now if he goes there, check. I have no other options but to go to h6. And can he stop my pawn then? Like, if he goes there, I'm moving the pawn forward. He can't stop my pawn. So I'm just ignoring that. I'm just moving my pawn then. And that's wrong. So I have to take. Oh, what? Minus 15! Are you are crazy, Lichas. You're freaking crazy. What the heck? Now I'm not in mild shock. I'm speechless. Really. So is that obvious that I didn't really find the solution that easy and simple? So I have to go back, I believe, to get that pawn. Yeah. What's going on? What's going on if I don't do that? If I just continue with my plan? If I go there, then the pawn goes that way, and the maximum I've got is a draw. So if I go further, so he takes here with check. Ah, that check kills me. Because if I go there, the pawn slips and queens, of course. I have forgotten the thing that you need to be always careful about if your king stands in check, right? So, and you need to waste your time to take that, otherwise, yeah, that's why the prophylactic move here to h6 was essential, in fact. And after that, you're winning because I can still stop the pawn, and then my pawn goes and queens, and his knight cannot really get that one. Wow, interesting, and not that hard. Now, once you saw the solution, you can always understand it's not that hard. So I go in there, and my king needs to come closer here. I forget about prophylactic moves. Sometimes they're necessary, sometimes they're not, and that's only your brain that decides whether you go there or not. Hi Sachin Saju. Sorry, I didn't look at the chat when I was solving, but welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Where are you from? Okay, going further. Okay. Okay, so now we've got another. By the way, how am I standing? Yeah, I'm still slightly down on my points, but I'm fine, thank you. Just solving tactics. Chess is on the rise in India. Actually, I see a lot of new chess stars. Recently, one guy from India won Russian Grandmaster Fedoseev. He was the FIDE master and Fedoseev is grandmaster, so I believe that Fedoseev got really, really pissed off. So he, in a losing position, he stormed out of the playing premises and didn't return, which is total disrespect to another player. But yeah, that's just interesting facts. All right, so now, um, what have we got here, and what would we like to do here? So, material-wise, we know that we are in trouble because white pawns here are quite strong, and it is a really monolithic um, formation. On the other hand, we've got like this broken structure, and this is really alarming. But let's just not get scared of the pawn structure or anything. Sometimes whatever decides is not the how bad your pawns are, but how dynamic the position is. So in this position, we have some tactical resources, I believe. And what I want to do here is the rook here is under attack of our queen through our rook. So logically, I would really like to go somewhere like taking here or maybe attacking the enemy's queen by imposing some threats here because once our knight joins the attack, it's going to be quite disastrous. Yeah. If we just play a rook c1 check here, well, yeah, he can just simply take, right? And then, well, we take with the knight, and what then? Then this something like he can take on d5, for example, and so on. So we can give checks and so on. So going on now. So check here is definitely not what we want. Hi, Match Sport. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, guys. In case you are first time here, my name is Alex, and I'm a FIDE candidate master from New Zealand. So here I mostly solve tactics. Sometimes I play. I used to play Blitz and Fisher Random as well, Chess 960, but I abandoned this idea because I don't find it that productive as solving tactics. I usually play over the board, so I believe that's really good training here. So yeah. Right, coming back here. So either this one or rook c6. That was the idea. I believe that rook c6 is even better because we're attacking the queen. Queen has got no checks, and at the same time we're attacking the rook. So looks like, yeah, looks like it is good. Well, here, see if we just go that way. If he plays there, we still take with the we can take with the pawn, I believe. And then he gives us a check here, our rook goes there. So we technically won a piece here. We defended by the rook from this diagonal check, and we're still attacking his rook, and we've got an extra piece. So that's, yeah. All right. So looks like, yeah, it looks like this move is definitely the best because taking on an f2 with the rook doesn't really seem threatening anything. apart from taking here, of course, but if he takes, yeah, I haven't got any continuation. So yeah, I believe I'm gonna get there. If he gets that, if he takes, does that serve any purpose? I'm gonna give him check here, and he has to take with the, he has to cover with the bishop. Then I'm gonna go there with the rook, and that's gonna be it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go that way, guys. And that's correct. So check here, sure. But then, as I said, we can take here. If he takes our rook, we take on b1 with check. So we're staying with the extra piece anyways. And if we take with the pawn and he tries to get some perpetual here, we are covering with the rook, right? So the rook is not hanging, and that's about it, right? Can we take with the queen here? Let's just verify that. So he takes us here, we can take here, check, right? But if we take here and he takes us here, we retake, then he takes on b3 and we are in trouble because this pawn is gonna be lost, and he's got this really, really nice formation of the pawn. So now that's the only move here, I believe. If he takes us there, we can always check here first, and if he goes away, we can start checking him, and it's a checkmate because f3 is guarded by our pawn on on e4. Okay, so I believe that's gonna be it. Take here. Hang on a moment. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Hang on a moment. Ooh, that is really bad. I mean, for me, because I didn't see that move. What to do now? The I deal this, but he takes my pawn, and what I'm going to do? Oh, hang on a second. What the heck am I doing? Check here, of course. Check here, the rook is gone. If he takes the rook, the queen is gone. Gosh, I'm so stupid. That's it. Right? That's it, and we've got 9 points for that one. Wonderful. Yep, yep. Midspot, you are absolutely right. Right, so in this position, I don't really like those bishops which are aiming at our king's position, but, well, c'est la vie, we need to do something about that. What can we do? The enemy's king is also bare open here, right? So it's like not really sending any positive vibes here, right? So it is just the king is gonna be in trouble. 100%. Here I'm strangely I'm wanting to sacrifice on d6 by some reason. Maybe checking here doesn't really look nice because of simple g6, and my queen needs to go away somewhere. So not as sexy as something like checking, taking. Yeah, and well, I take, right? So he takes. Well, he has to probably, right? I haven't counted the pieces, but I see that we are at least. No, we've got a rook for 2 pieces in this situation, right? So let's just check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns here. So pawns are equal. 1, 2, 1, 2, rook, rook. And then we've got a rook for 2 pieces, yeah, as I said. So we are in a kind of disadvantage here because he's got 2 pieces. So yeah. I'd like to, yeah, by some reason I want to sack here. If he takes, then I've got check here, by the way, and then this one doesn't really help much because I think I can even take on c5, and as 2 pieces are going to be under attack, he can defend something, but that wouldn't really help. His king is going to be still in a really kind of in situation of deep regress. So yeah, that would be my first choice, I believe. I don't want to overcomplicate here. Is anything that he can do in the interim, like any threats or anything? I don't see anything, frankly. And that's kind of forcing, so he has to take. Otherwise, he's exchanged down with my continuous attack, right? So I'm gonna take here, then etc. etc. In otherwise, well, if I don't take, he can sacrifice here at some point and then give me this check, and then I don't know, maybe relocate somewhere here to attack me. So that's going to be quite an initiative. So yeah, taking here is probably the best. So taking there, what then? What can we do then? As I said, I was wanting to check. G6 is normal. We're taking on C5, and if he goes with the queen to F6, I'm taking on C6. Then he takes here with check, and my queen is gonna go. Okay, so that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. I'm just looking at the chat, guys. Um, Knight c4. Ooh, I didn't even see that move. But I promise I wouldn't use that because my idea was to take on d6, so that's what I'm sticking to. But that's an interesting idea. So if you get the check there on c4, and then what? I don't kind of refute or anything or scold you guys for giving the wrong ideas, because I'm gonna still stick to mine. But like all of the moves, see, well, that's the whole thing. I just want to tell you. The puzzles here are of the kind that you need to attack and you need to find the most forcing variations. So the opponent either suffers some material losses or gets checkmated, right? In this position, some kind of moves like knight to c8, for example, they are not forcing. You need to find the most forcing moves, and the most forcing moves are taking checks first. It's the most forcing move, check, and then takings, on which the opponent in most cases needs to react immediately. That's why they're called forcing moves. And in this position, if you make some move here like g4 as you proposed, or knight to c8, that's not really kind of forcing moves. Yeah, they attack here, and this move attacks the knight, but first g4 seems like you are way weakening your king's position. So even if there was no puzzle, for example, I would be really scared to make that move, because that weakens your king's residence quite a lot, and it will hiccup at some point, believe me, especially when those bishops are that formidable and looking at your position. This knight to c8 is looking like it is attacking the piece, but it's not really forcing. In what I can do, at least I can just move my queen around, attack you. If you exchange here, so okay, sure, just gonna take that. So it is probably advantageous for white, but that doesn't win in a clear manner. And here in the puzzles, you need to kind of show the shortest way to win, right? Maybe there are more ways to win, but one of them definitely is the best. So that's the kind of guidelines for you guys if you are not doing the puzzles on a regular basis. What I first do is I usually count the material, because that helps you understand um, what the idea behind the whole combination is. Sometimes you see that you are really short on material, so your way of thinking should be not gaining the material back, even though it's also possible, but just first to attack the king, and then while attacking you can regain all the material or even win more. Okay, that's the thing. Yeah, so just looking at the position, by elimination you would say like, well, hang on a second, but anything else apart from taking here, it doesn't sound right really. There is no checks or anything in here, so I believe that by default, that's by elimination, that's the only move you can play here. That's what I'm saying. Checking here, g6 throws back my queen. I need to go away. So basically that says bugger off. Yeah, and I'm losing tempo here, so nothing achieved. If there was something brewing up here, I could even sacrifice my queen sometimes, but yeah, that's not the case. So we're gonna finish with no material and no attack. And sacrificing the rook gives us basically two ideas. First of all, we're getting rid of one active piece. Don't scare to sacrifice the exchanges, because sometimes that, especially when this king, that's gonna gain a lot. Look at those sorry pieces here. They're not even in the plane at the moment. So technically, if we've got one, two, three, four pieces in the play now, and we're eliminating one of them, leaving two of them plus the queen in attack. So yeah, I reckon that's the correct idea here. I might be wrong again, so I'm kind of blundering, bubbling a lot, but maybe I'm blundering something, so I don't know. But by the look of the position, I don't really see anything but rook takes d6, frankly. There's nothing more forcing, no checks, definitely, or anything. So you know what? I'm just gonna play that. I think even if it is wrong, I think I would risk. And it's yeah, that's correct. So we were not that stupid, right? We were right about that. And now what I wanted to continue with queen to h5 check, because previously it was not possible with because of the g6, but now the fifth rank is open, and what I can do is just slide here and take on c5, attacking two of the pieces, right? And I'm definitely regaining the piece, and the king is still in the center. It's gonna not last for long, right? So it's definitely going to be, yeah, exactly. So you need to look at whatever is promising. Sometimes it is the sense of initiative, the intuition, but I warn you about the intuition, because intuition could be wrong as well. Intuition shouldn't be substituting you the logic or counting. So in this case, it looked promising, and we saw that, well, actually the king is gonna be hit from, from one side and another side. He punched it from different sides. So I believe it's gonna be advantageous here. And as a result of our calculation, we're at least winning a piece here back, right? So that's definitely good, provided that his pieces here on the king's flank are still not in the play. That seems nice. And anything else we could do now? We can also take here, but that's not as forcing as check, of course. So I urge you to find the most forcing move. So yeah, I'm gonna play my line here. Check, g6, and I'm gonna take on c5, and that wins, right? So that's not a really kind of um, not a hard calculation stuff, right? But in this initial position, you must overwhelm yourself and just sacrifice the piece. Why I'm kind of marking that, guys, because I suck at sacrifices, even if it wins, like if it leads to a winning position and so on. I especially am sucking at sacrificing queens, because there's a lot of puzzles which you need to sacrifice the queen in return of basically checkmating the king, and I'm blind to that. So that's why I'm kind of proud of myself finding this kind of move or sacrificing on d6, because yeah, I need to train that skill of sacrificing for positional advantage, or further for some tactics. That's why I'm kind of babbling about it that much. Alright, so now we are here, and let's just verify again the material. The material is kind of equal, because those two pawns don't really count that much. It is like one big pawn here stopped by one of my pawns, but it could be sometimes quite like even one pawn move can be essential in the pawn game. So I wouldn't go that far saying it is totally equal, but all other pieces seem equal. Like we've got one light piece both, we've got two rooks both, we've got queens, and we've got kings, of course. Now, what have we got here? Um, Now we look at the details. So we've got a really nice pin here, which pins the bishop. It can't really move because the queen is gonna be under attack. What else have we got here? Any other details? Oh, I don't really like the position of the enemy's pieces around, like in the center. Black is definitely dominating in the center, and that allows him to create attack, right? Um, and I don't like that. So we need to find something really kind of either tuning the tables or something like that. I again, I'm just looking at the enemy's king, and if the B file wasn't open, if b file was open, I would create some kind of tremendous attack on the enemy's king. But it is closed. And I can open it actually. I can do that kind of stuff. I'm again sacrificing the piece for what? If he takes with the queen, I don't give a damn because I'm just gonna go rook to b1 and I'm gonna checkmate in one, right? So that's a checkmate. In the fact is that he can't even do anything about that checkmate. Um, he can sacrifice the queen here somewhere around, but that wouldn't really help. He can't cover with other pieces either, so it's like, oh no, sorry, what am I talking about? Now I'm missing one of my best moves, which is if I take here, he takes me with check. I'm losing initiative. So it's all bollocks that I was saying before. Never mind. We need to find something better. And but still, I'm not kind of um, throwing away my idea because I can still go something like attacking his rook, and I'm still clearing the path for myself. So I'm attacking the rook needs to go somewhere, and then next move I can another refutation of my idea, because if rook goes somewhere, the bishop is actually attacking b1, but it doesn't really attack b1 because it is pinned. Pinned piece seems like attacking something, but in fact it is not. In fact, it is not really. Yet, it goes to too many ifs and buts. Say I am attacking him, he goes away somewhere. I'm going there, hoping that he is pinned. He still takes me here. I'm taking him here, and he goes there. Check, and that's going to be checkmate because this rook actually cuts my king off. Brilliant. So we found that we actually cannot really do anything here.